Chizzle here with a review of Klang, the non-stop rhythm platformer by Tinimations. I first discovered this game back in 2015 when Tinimations published their GDC trailer showcasing this rhythm heavy hitter. I was immediately drawn in by its visuals. It looked like a fever dream, and I wandered in. At its core, Klang is a rhythm game with heavy amounts of platforming, but a further look at it shows a marvel of intriguing game design and well-implemented ideas. Klang revolves around platforming and hitting beats thrown at you called clangs. The main objective is to clear each level with as few misses as possible. Despite the fact you might see the gameplay having similarities to games like Audio Surf, Guitar Hero, and the like, you should know it's nothing of the sort. You truly feel immersed in the gameplay, and if you don't give it your full focus, you will lose track of what's going on and miss a beat or two. This game is not easy, despite the fact it's a decently short adventure, clocking in at about 2 to 4 hours depending on your playstyle. The difficulty of each level is not for the faint of heart. In fact, Klang enjoys reminding you when you are taking hits. It dims the screen, makes the music sound off, cues you with noises that remind you of your failure, and when it's all done, you die in a blast of inverted screen colors. Another thing to note is if you are somebody who does not enjoy platforming, this game is not for you. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, but Klang is probably one of the most interesting indie platformers in both its level design and overall aesthetics. The game is littered with beautiful sights, from the glowing lights in the background to the Tron-esque enemy AI, to the moving platforms that appear in front of you as you duke it out towards later parts of the game. The constant movement of background elements also adds to the immersive feeling of the world around you, with some areas having large physical changes when your character moves to the beat. It's a sight to behold, and it's worth noting that the animation is fluid, excluding some of the cutscenes. The game's overall polish is great, but you'd expect more from some of the character animations in cutscenes, especially seeing as some of the basic idle animations look like this. It's not enough to ruin the scenes, but it is a tiny bit jarring to go from such fluid animation to a thing that appears as if the developer had to finish it in a hurry. Despite the fact that this is a rhythm game, that doesn't automatically mean its sound design is stellar. I've seen many rhythm games with subpar sound design, but that's just not the case with Klang. The sound design in this game is absolutely brilliant. From the sound of the clang of your sword to the musical shuffle sound you make while running on certain surfaces. There's so much nuance in the game's sound and music. There's so many hidden auditory clues that cue you into what's going on. Like the game noticing you are doing well by chiming excitedly, or not so much by producing low tones of disappointment. Sounds such as the spawn of the floating NPCs that sound like robotic cassette tapes getting jammed fill your ears and add to the immersion. In addition to these nuances, the other characters that you fight and interact with also have auditory shouts that sound like real words but are just foreign enough that you can't really assume they're saying something. Just amazing sound design. Overall, the game performs well, although initial loading time is very high, as the game loads all its assets at runtime. So, if you have an older computer, make yourself a coffee right after launching this game. During gameplay, there are a few stutters when missing beats, which makes getting back in sync with the music fairly difficult, as Klang requires very quick response time between clangs. This only makes it more frustrating to play at times, as the game's severe lag goes hand in hand with its constant reminders of death. Ultimately, Klang is a $15 game I'd recommend to anyone trying to find a unique game to immerse themselves in, especially if you don't care a ton about replayability.